How's it going, everyone? FF Wigs here today, bringing you the start sits here for this week 3 Thursday night football game. It's the Patriots versus Jets here. Should be an interesting divisional matchup, and I'm excited to see how it plays on out. I'm recording this here by myself. My dad's actually at a job interview right now, and we needed to get this uploaded. So I'm gonna knock this out myself here. I'll just start with my starts here for the week. I got Hunter Henry and Antonio Gibson. My dad does there as well. Hunter Henry coming off an amazing game last week, going for 100 yards there. In their game, would have loved to have seen a touchdown, but nonetheless, 100 yards. It's already 10 points right there, and then whatever receptions you get. So he had a pretty solid week there last week. Um, Antonio Gibson as well ran for 90 yards on limited carries. I'm hoping he's a little more involved here this week, but if they lean his way a little bit there in the run game and even in the passing game, I think he's going to put up good fantasy points here throughout the year. Him and Stevenson are a really good 1-2 punch. I know my dad's a big fan of that running back crew right now, and he's hoping that they get their receivers going so then their run game can even open up more because at some point he thinks that they could be slowing down there in the run game just due to their lack of a passing game. So which I do agree with. If you don't get that passing game going, your run game's going to struggle because they're just going to start loading the box and bringing extra guys towards Stevenson and Gibson. So, aside from that, my dad has Alan Lazard starting. He is a huge believer in the Rodgers and Lazard combination right now. I know he wasn't at the start of the year. I was, and I've kind of leaned away from it just due to the fact that Rodgers has really utilized his running backs a lot more and targeting Garrett Wilson quite a bit. It's just hard for me to fully feel comfortable starting Lazard, just due to the fact that Mike Williams is getting into the full swing of things too, and you never know which one of those guys will pop off. I think they're both risky starts at a flex position if you were to use them, but that's kind of just up to you if you have either one of them. I would sway away from them if you have better bench players because you just never know if it's going to be Lazard or Williams. Garrett Wilson could pop off, and the other two could be irrelevant. You have Braylon Allen that's been used quite a bit there in that backfield, along with Brees Hall. They're actually on the field a decent amount together last week. So just know that if they keep running a two running back setup where they have both Braylon Allen and Brees Hall out there, that could chip away from Lazard and Williams' production, just due to the fact that Braylon Allen is a really good receiving running back as well as Brees Hall. So got to be aware of that. It's a little bit crowded in that offense at times. It does open it up for other players. I just think Lazard and Williams both will get lost just due to the fact that now they have a young running back that's also being more involved there in week two. And I think that'll continue here in this week. And I wouldn't doubt it if they line Braylon Allen up on the offensive line there as a receiver a few times with Brees Hall in the backfield. So just know it's a really risky start for Lazard and Williams. Both could be good options if Wilson's being covered pretty well, but you just never know. It's unpredictable. To move on to our sits here, my dad and I both have Jalen Polk, and then he's got KJ Osborne and Demario Douglas. I just think any one of the Patriots receivers right now is really risky. In my eyes, Demario Douglas and Jalen Polk are the top two guys. You do have KJ Osborne, I think, sitting at that third or fourth spot there with Baker. Um, it's just really hard for me to tell you which receiver on this offense to start just due to the fact that Brissett's only thrown for 150 yards on average in a game, and last week 100 of those yards went to Hunter Henry. So you just never know which one of these guys is going to receive a touchdown or pop off. I have high hopes for Demario Douglas, but I don't think anything's really going to happen until Brissett either has a really good game passing or if they put Drake May in, because I could see them passing the ball a little bit more with Drake May. And I think Drake May actually could put up relatively the same number of stats there as Brissett, just due to the fact that Brissett's not really putting up amazing numbers, you know. And they've relied heavily on the run game. So if it's me, I'm benching all of the Patriots wide receivers just due to the fact that you don't know who's the true wide receiver one, two, or three. Even like it's just a toss up. It's kind of just like that Packers offense with wide receivers. I think Reed with Love separated himself from the pack, but you look at the wide receiver too. I think that's a toss up. This is just a whole toss up here for the Patriots. Just a lot of question marks of who's going to be the guy. I think Polk and Douglas both have a lot of potential here on this offense. I can see both of them having good years in the future once the quarterback plays good. And the Patriots, they've had good quarterback play in the past, so hopefully they can get over this little rut and the receivers start popping on off. I chose to sit Tyler Conklin. This is someone my dad and I actually thought highly of going into the season just because he's under Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a really good quarterback when it comes to finding his tight ends and running backs. I don't think he's in the full swing of things yet. I still think he's got a lot to work on here coming off his injury, but I do see him potentially finding Tyler Conklin here in the next few weeks and opening up the offense even more. I think if he starts to include Tyler Conklin more in this offense, it's going to open up Garrett Wilson to have bigger games because Garrett Wilson's only really had mediocre performances so far. I just think that's due to the fact that Rodgers is not finding Tyler Conklin at all in this offense just yet, and I think he needs to. If you find Tyler Conklin across the middle of the field or even on short routes, it makes the defense pay more attention to you. So or may pay more attention to Conklin, which will open things up for Wilson because Wilson's getting a lot of the attention right now. So I think if you start finding Tyler Conklin in this offense, it's just not only going to benefit players like Garrett Wilson, but it'll benefit players like Brees Hall and Braylon Allen, who will be running the ball. And in the receiving game, they'll be more open because they're going to have to put a focus there on Tyler Conklin. You think about it right now, really, every team that's going into it playing the Jets, they're trying to lock down Garrett Wilson, and then they're trying to keep an eye on Brees Hall. Those are the two main targets. Now, after that, you really just need someone to be a disturbance, and I think that's going to be Tyler Conklin. You need him to have a good game or two here, and then after that, his other receivers should be getting more open. Garrett Wilson should be getting more open, and then I could see this offense just scoring a lot of points a game. At the end of the day, I know my dad and I talked about this in a prior video. If you find your tight end the ball, it's going to open up your receivers, and that's what we talked about with Hunter Henry. They utilized him last week. If they do that again this week, teams are going to have to start paying more attention to Henry, which I think will open up to Mario Douglas and Jalen Polk. I think that's the biggest issue with quite a few different teams here. Patriots being one of them. I think the Packers need to start doing that as well. The Giants need to start doing that too because I think that'll open up Neighbors and Wandale even more. There's a lot of different teams that need to start utilizing their tight ends a little bit more because you look at the top teams right now in like San Francisco and the Eagles and other, good teams are utilizing their tight ends outside of Kansas City, who's just kind of had it good so far. But once Kelsey's involved, that's gonna open up Rice and Worthy more. It's a whole thing of use your tight end; it'll open up more field. And as soon as that happens, teams are gonna have to start paying more attention to receivers, and then your tight end's gonna be open. You're gonna be going back and forth of your tight ends are gonna be open, and then your wide receivers are gonna be open because teams don't know what to focus on. So if you involve your tight end heavily, it's always a good thing because then you will open up the rest of the field for your team. On the other side, my dad had Mike Williams as a bench. I agree with this. I think I touched on that already here. So Mike Williams and Lazard, in my eyes, are both bench guys right now. Um, and when I say bench, it's just bench for the flex spot. So Mike Williams, he hasn't done anything since joining back with the team. I know he's been on a limited snap count here in the first few weeks, but we should see him in full effect here either this week or next week. And if he is not doing anything still, then I think he's a bench for the majority of the year, just due to the fact that they do already have a lot of weapons. And I think they really just brought in Mike Williams as like an insurance policy in case Garrett Wilson or someone else got hurt. And, maybe as a solid wide receiver 2 weapon, I actually like the move, but he hasn't done anything to prove himself yet. And I don't know if that's just on Mike Williams himself, or I don't know if that's on Aaron Rodgers just kind of having a dud so far this year, but time will tell. I think Mike Williams will be more involved in this offense, and I think he will be more involved than Lazard at some point, personally. Um, but it's hard to judge because we've really only seen 2 games, and with the way preseason and everything goes, you're not going to see like a full like game until like week 3 or 4. So hopefully this is the week where we see that and we see certain players perform in the way we expect them to, because Mike Williams is one of those players. He did it there for the Chargers on quite a few different occasions when he was healthy, right behind Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler, even when they had Melvin Gordon and Eckler. Like you just need to keep an eye on him because he can be one of those guys that can go for 1,000 yards with another receiver. He's done it with um, Keenan Allen in the past. It's just a matter of when that's going to happen. And I think he's going to have a few big games coming up here. He is battling with Lazard for targets, so we'll see how that pans on out. But Mike Williams in the red zone should be a big target too. So expect some touchdowns, expect some decent games here. Keep an eye on Mike Williams. Definitely have him on your bench. I don't think he's waiver wire worthy, obviously. So just keep him on your bench and be patient with him because he could in the future weeks pop on off. But I think that's just going to cover today's video here. Kind of had to get this recorded on out quick here. Again, Papa Wiggs is at a job interview right now, so I decided to just knock this out for us and expect him back in tomorrow's video. And yeah, check out our other social medias as well. We're on TikTok, X, and Instagram, Fantasy Fools PPR. We're here on YouTube, Fantasy Fools. Keep an eye on their shorts. I do break those down quite a bit there into 1 minute like videos so for you guys, so you just get a quick boom, 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 boom for those who might be at work and just want a quick 1 minute video to listen to, or if you just don't want to sit there for 10 minutes. Sometimes I'm like that. I'd prefer to watch a short over a full length video. And yeah, keep in touch with all of our social media. We're going to be starting up our Snapchat soon, so hopefully that'll bring in some more attention here for us as well. If you guys ever have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments. Like, simple ones is, oh, who should I start between these two guys? We tend to respond back. I think we've responded back to every single person so far, even if it's one of those where really the players are identical. Sometimes we're just like, that's up to, the GM of the team, I guess you can say, yourself. Like, for example, we had one with James Cook and I think it was James Cook and I want to say White from the Buccaneers, and it's like that's kind of dealer's choice. Ideally, I'd be starting both of those. I don't know what the format is in the league, but those are one of those type of examples. We did have something like that, so just know sometimes it won't be direct. Oh, you should start this guy. Sometimes it's it's whatever your gut's telling you, because at the end of the day, both the matchups are pretty good, and both those guys can pop off, So we at least give some feedback, even if we don't have a true answer for you guys. So just know that. But I'm gonna sign on off. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.